Third down and 20.
This segment, we'll call it the head coach game, head coach carousel. We're going to take the teams that need a head coach and try to predict the head coach of the team. Steed, we'll start off with your boys, the Falcons. Do you think, A, that they'll keep Raheem Morris, or B, go for a new head coach? And if B, who do you think are the best candidates for the job? And you got to pick one.
Well, I still think Raheem Morris is the best candidate for the job. I truly believe in him. And if he was able to find a good OC for them to handle the offense and get it back cranking, I totally believe Raheem Morris could make this a top 10 defense in the league. But that being said, Raheem Morris will be in question for the head coaching, but I think it's looking more and more that the Falcons will do an outside hire and really try to revamp and restart this thing over, and I think they're looking at. I see Eric Bieniemy always in the conversation for the Chiefs. That the one thing about that though is just because could this just be a Nagy thing? Because how much credit are we actually giving him for the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and all of them when we at the end of the day everybody knows it's Andy Reid's team, it's Andy Reid's offense.
Yeah, but Andy Reid has had some decent coaches. Like Doug Peterson has had success. I do think I think that there are some better candidates, not very many. I would like Eric Bieniemy for the Falcons, though. I think that he's good. I think that he would be a good hire. I think the bigger problem is, are they going to be able to get him?
Yeah,
Because, let's be real. If you're a Bieniemy, I might just stick around the Chiefs for a little bit. I don't know, because you don't really get around that situation too often. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'd be interesting because, the Texans are definitely going to be the number one choice for a coach when they're looking out there because, well, first of all, you get Deshaun Watson. And
yeah, that's the big one. You have the quarterback. You don't have to worry about that. You just got to put a good team around him,
Yeah,
the Falcons definitely have a lot more question marks than the Texans do, mainly because Matt Ryan, we don't know if he's going to be the guy long term anymore, It's just he's getting up there.
Yeah, and I don't think so. If it's being said, which is true, where Jim Dorsey is the favorite for the GM, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see Matt Ryan in a uniform next year. I would not be surprised. He's been one more aggressive guys, and he might want his own dude. And that being said, that's why the Falcons job is a little weird because you have some decent pieces, yeah, you do, but a lot of the good players on the team are old. Julio's old, Matt Ryan's old. Yeah, the defense, Dion, Grady Jarrett at your as your defense centerpieces. That's good, but what are you gonna do with Ricardo and then that horrible secondary? So I think it's a lot of questions, but I think every single team has questions because if they wouldn't have all these lingering questions, then their head coach wouldn't have been fired. So I think Bieniemy would be good. And talked about Brian Dabble, he's Josh Allen is in the MVP conversation too. The Bills' offense looks very good. From the last 2 years where they've been more of a defensive heavy team, their offense has really contributed. And I think their offense is top 5 in the league easily. This team could play spoiler to the Chiefs or Steelers as the favorite in the AFC to make a Super Bowl run. So I like him. But other than that, I'm looking at the college coaches, that Pat Fitzgerald from Northwestern, the guy from Iowa State, Matt Campbell. I don't know too much about them. I know
Who are you picking though?
Oh, who am I picking?
Names, who are you picking? Yeah, who are you picking?
I still think that Eric Bieniemy guy is going to go to the Texans or just stay. I feel like we're going to get. I think we're going to get Dabble. I think he's just going to take this. I think we're going to get.
I think that right now, Brian Daboll, for me, if I was an owner, would probably be the number one head coaching target that I would go after. I think that the schemes that I've seen from the Bills, what they've done to transform that offense is really good. And if you just get a really solid GM behind Dable, then you could really get a team that develops a great offense. Because I do agree with you. I think that the Falcons are going to try and go for an offensive head coach because it's really what the fan base wants. And I think that that's been a team that ever since the Super Bowl has really lost that connection with their fan base. And I think that if you hire a guy like Dable, that it'll really bring that excitement that you kind of lost under Dan Quinn. And if you keep Raheem Morris around or hire another defensive guy, I think that a lot of the fan base would be like, ah, man, this is just the same crap all over again. While I do think that the defensive side of the football is the issue with this Falcons team right now. At the same time, their offense has really taken a step back from the beginning of the season. So I think that Brian Dable would be a great hire for them. But me personally, let's just say I can't get Dable, right? Because I like you, I really like Brian Dable. I think he would be a phenomenal hire. Um, you know, Bieniemy would be all right. Don't get me wrong. I like him. I think he's a good coach. Uh, Joe Brady would be another guy that I would definitely look at as a guy that because I think that with LSU you saw that they were really able to build a top-notch program there. And I mean, they came in to that Panther situation. Everyone thought that they had one of the worst rosters in coming into the season this year, and they were
Yeah.
able to come out and play. Yeah, their record isn't insane, but they've been in a lot of really tough football games. I mean, they gave the Chiefs a run for their money, and they were in that football game. So I think that he's definitely going to get some looks from teams. But I don't know. I still think that this team needs a defense. Um, I think they'll go with an offensive hire though. Let's go on to the Texans. So you like Bieniemy for the Texans, right?
Yeah, like or DeBolt. I just think they'll go offense because they'll try to get like that Sean McVay kind of Jared Goff thing where they want like that coaching tree, like that coaching relationship with the quarterback to be there for a while. You have a transcendent quarterback in Deshaun Watson. Would you want a offensive mind head coach to go along with him? So he can favor him because like you can build a defense, you know, to some point.
Yeah, and I supposedly Deshaun Watson really wants Eric Bieniemy. Um, Andy Reid has endorsed him, saying that he should be a head coach. I think that that would be a phenomenal hire for the Texans because they just need someone that can really just bring in talent to that team. That's a team right now. I see they have some good players, but they just lack talent on both sides of the football right now. Mainly
Yeah,
their defense. Their defense is just bad. You let Trubisky just tear you up last week. Like, come on.
it's the
I think
Trubisky
Eric
show.
Bieniemy would be a great hire for them. Um, and then let's move on to the Lions. Supposedly Robert Sala has been really been looking at by the Lions. Um, I also think that we'll see some more head coaching positions open up. Um, I think the Los Angeles Chargers could be one that opens up. Obviously, the Jets are going to be one that opens up. The
Possibly the
Jaguars and the
Jags.
Bears,
Yeah.
yeah, the Jaguars and the Bears could possibly open up. So I think that the Jets, the Bears, yeah, the Jets and the Bears, I think are really also the Chargers actually too. The Chargers too are can kind of throw a wrench in here because if I'm Brian Dable and I could pick any team to go to, including those four teams that haven't fired their coach, I think the Chargers would be my first choice. I get a sick quarterback that you
True.
could argue is more talented than Josh Allen. You have great pieces on that offense already. You got to fix up the offensive line, which that staff has done in Buffalo. So if I'm Dable, I want to go to the Chargers, and I think that if that position and that job opens up, he's going there. That's the only thing that I have against the Falcons getting him.
Yeah, I feel like the Falcons, like, it just feels like we're not going to get that number one guy. I just think, like, as we've said, the huge turnoff for like getting one of these bigger coaches to come to the Falcons or a team like that is even though he's done great for this franchise and his best quarterback in franchise history is Matt Ryan. I think he's just too up there in age, and I don't think he'll ever get back to a Super Bowl, be honest with you. And I'm going to throw a little shade on him, and I hate to do this, but he's looked like ass in the past month and a half or so. He's not played well. I mean, he threw three crucially picks. Yes, Sunday against the Chargers, lost you the ball game. Threw you a pick that lost you the ball game. So I'm just to be critical of him. I don't think he has anything left in the tank, really. I don't think he does. Now that might be
Yeah,
like
that's rough.
and now I'm not saying like Matt Ryan can't still play. He can still play, but like I'm just saying he's going to need a lot of help. It's not like 2016 Matt Ryan where he did have a lot of help and he had a great running game and great offensive mind head coach, but like he would need something like that again because I'm telling you right now the Dirk Cutter and him thing is not getting it done. And you can put blame on Dirk Cutter, but you can put blame on Matt too, because those picks he threw last week were horrible, were terrible, head scratchers.
So yeah, I just think right now the teams, if we include those teams that haven't fired their coach but we're expecting them to, if I'm a head coach and I could have my pick of the litter, it's probably Chargers number one, and then tied for two is the Texans and surprisingly the Jets, just because
You get Lawrence.
I get Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I get Trevor Lawrence, a plethora of draft capital, a lot of cap space. I do think that people are overhyping how bad of a situation the Jets are in. We've seen teams like the Rams with Sean McVay turn around. Granted, Sean McVay is one of the top coaches in the NFL, but at the same time, like, they need to bring in a ton of talent, and I'm not sure that anyone is going to be able to turn them around in 1 year. But it's not like they don't have resources to completely overhaul and turn around the roster in the organization, right?
Yeah. With the Jets, you have a lot of freedom room. Like you go in there and you're getting Lawrence. You've got some draft picks, and like you said, you got some cap or whatever. Like you can make something happen. You in the first year, like if Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be, the best thing since Andrew Luck to come out, then who says that you can't turn around this 0-16 or soon to be 0-16 team and have really hit the draft, get some guys back that like came off the COVID list, like CJ Mosley and them, and then like start contending because like we've seen the AFC East, even though the Bills look like they're legit for a couple years, and the Dolphins are definitely coming up and will give them problems. Um, you're going to have to start contending pretty soon. And when you look at the quarterbacks in your division, once you get Lawrence, is you got the best quarterback. You know, you do.
Yeah, you're easily in terms of talent.
Yeah.
And
So
that makes the job so attractive. Like if they didn't have, we're just gonna assume they have Trevor Lawrence because if they end up with the first pick, like everyone's expecting them to, there's no way you're not taking Lawrence, unless someone offers you a franchise for the pick. They're taking Trevor Lawrence, which just makes the job incredibly attractive because you have Trevor Lawrence and a clean slate. You have a bunch of cap room. You have a bunch of draft picks to turn the thing around. And in terms of a coach that wants to build their legacy, if you're the guy that goes in and turns around the New York Jets, like that is pretty attractive to me. Just the whole like, oh, I get to be the guy that can turn around this 0-16 team with one of the best quarterback prospects to ever come out. Like,
yeah.
man, what better situation to build my legacy as a top head coach
Well,
than
at the end of the
this?
day, it's the Jets. You know,
Yeah, it is the Jets.
it's the
Um,
goddamn Jets. I don't know if
so
I
I
had him.
think that the Bears is going to be an interesting one too. I want to move on to the Bears real quick because
Yeah.
I am really curious to see what the Bears do. Do they go with another offensive guy? Um, honestly, It depends though, because it depends. Are you going to be able to keep on to Chuck Pagano? Because if you can keep Chuck Pagano around on the staff, then I'd go with an offensive coach, hands down, like easy. Because I need a guy that can do what Matt Nagy was hired to do: bring in a good quarterback, build an offense around the key defense that they have. I think that Pace, their general manager, is pretty good in terms of just finding talent. He's done a pretty good job of putting talent on that Bears team. They just need someone that can really put it all together.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just wondering what's going to go on there. The Jaguars, though, I'm not sure they get rid of Dougie Marrone just yet. I think that they might, just because they're the Jaguars and they want a clean slate and to like build some hype around the team. But in terms of the situation that they're in now, I think that Doug Marrone would be able to develop some talent around that football team. And I'm not sure that they should be so quick to fire him. I know I was critical of him in the past, but after watching him this season, yeah, they haven't necessarily been winning football games, but they're not yeah, they're far away and yeah, they suck and whatnot, but they're at least in football games. They have some talent on the roster. Um, I think more with the Jaguars, you need a culture more than better schemes. And at the end of the day, Doug Marrone, I'm not sure you're going to find someone who's better at developing young players than him. That's the only problem I have with firing him. And that's exactly what you need for that franchise right now, a guy that can develop young talent.
Yeah, I think if I was the Jags, that's a good point because, uh, at the end of the day, it looks like you're gonna get Justin Fields. That's an attraction too. But I wouldn't fire Marone unless I'm getting a top 3 guy. Like, I'm not settling for anyone. I want, like, a big name guy. I want one of the top candidates, and if I can't get him, I'll just stay with my guy and give him another chance.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna go on and say. Ready? So I'm gonna say Bieniemy. We're both saying Bieniemy to Houston. I'm gonna say Brian Dable to the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm gonna say Robert Sala to the Lions, just because he's been rumored to go there, and I
Yeah,
actually
I
do
like that.
think that he may go there. They got a nice. They have some talent on their defensive side of the ball. I'm gonna say Joe Brady to the Chicago Bears, a team that just really needs an offense. I think that he could go there, and I'm not sure he would go in division to the Falcons, and I'm not sure he necessarily wants. I could see him going to the Falcons though.
I would love him.
Um, the Falcons, I think the Falcons might go with one of those college guys.
Get a
So
college guy?
I'm gonna go Pat Fitzgerald from Northwestern to the Falcons.
Ah,
Um,
dude, that's just so boring.
that it is boring,
Like
but
Northwestern,
the
come on, at least give me someone from like an SEC school. Like granted, Northwestern was good this year and they've been competitive in years past, but like
All right, and I'm gonna say Nathaniel Hackett, offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, who's worked with Aaron Rodgers, is gonna go to the Jets. I think that the Jets are gonna want a guy. I think they're gonna lose out on Bieniemy. I think that they may lose out on Joe Brady as well. They're going to go with Nathaniel Hackett, a guy that has worked with a top tier quarterback in Aaron Rodgers before. He's put together a really solid offense. He gets to go to the Jets, clean slate, and work with one of the best quarterback prospects in Trevor Lawrence. I think that the Jets are going to try and do what Adam Gase was supposed to do, and they're going to try and get a quarterback that can develop a coach that can develop the young quarterback that they're trying to build around. And let's just say that the Jaguars fire Dougie
Dougie.
Marrone. Um, I'm going to put who do we put there? Um, this one, I think the Jaguars might go with the defensive guy. I'm kind of choosing between Patrick Graham and Todd Bowles. Ah,
I could see Todd Bowles
uh,
for some reason.
I could see Todd Bowles. I'm going to go Patrick Graham though. let's just go with the guy that hasn't been the head coach for. Um, I'm gonna put Patrick Graham to the Jaguars, but I wouldn't be so sure that they fire Doug Marrone just yet. So that's what mine is. You can go ahead and do yours.
I got one for the Jets because I think the Jets are just going to jet this thing off at the end of the day because they are the goddamn Jets. They're getting Harbaugh. They're the
They're getting
ones that
Harbaugh.
they're the perfect fit for Harbaugh, dude, because it just makes all sense, you know. Take a little cop out, get the fans excited. Okay, well, even though Harbaugh really hasn't had too much success at Michigan, you know, he went to a Super Bowl, had a pretty good record in San
Mhm.
Francisco. Harbaugh back in the NFL with Trevor Lawrence. You feel it? You like it? I mean, I just
I
think
mean,
that'd be a funny
I
pick.
could see that. I could see that, to be completely honest. Because that, the thing is, at the end of the day, the Jets they might want to go with the route of someone that has proven that they can at least run an organization. And while Harbaugh hasn't had success at Michigan, I think part of the problem with his success at Michigan was he was never able to get a quarterback, and B, I'm just not sure he was necessarily as good of a recruiter as the other top schools were.
Well, also the
Um,
thing is that he's had to go through Ohio State as their rival for the last how long he's been there, 4 or 5 years, and he has yet to beat them. And he is just when it comes to playing top 25 teams, he is very unsuccessful. Like he's under 500 against top 25 teams. And when you can't beat your rival, you're going to get crapped on. Now, you might be around the conversation for a good bit, have your team ranked in the teens. But at the end of the day, the college football wants the guy that can get you in the number 4 spot. That's the reason why Nick Saban's been there forever. Reason why Urban Meyer was there at Ohio State forever. Reason why Ryan Day is going to be at Ohio State forever. Reason why Dabo will be at Clemson forever. And Jim Harbaugh is just not that one of those guys. College and NFL are just different. They're similar and different in
completely
just
different.
ways. It's just like maybe the recruiting aspect. You're right. He's truly not too great at that. But the coaching aspect of the game. If he has a professional team where he can look and draft the players and has a quarterback, when it comes to coaching, Harbaugh is still a really good coach.
I
Game
mean, dude, think
planning,
about it.
game management.
Look at what he was able to do. Him and the OC for the Ravens. What's his name? I can't think of his name, but the current OC for the Ravens was his offensive coordinator with Kaepernick. Man, they were able to put together a really electric offense. Now you get Trevor Lawrence. You get Trevor Lawrence. He's not any average Joe. Like, even comparing him to guys like Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield, former number one overall picks, Trevor Lawrence blows them out of the water. He's in a different
Yeah.
tier, different
Listen,
club than these guys.
Trevor Lawrence has
You
been the number
finally
one
get
pick. He's been the number one pick in this draft since his senior year of high school. I'm just
yeah,
like, everybody knew. Like
and
when
like you finally get Jim Harbaugh, that top tier quarterback that he hasn't had for how many years? Because, like, okay, Colin Kaepernick, when he was playing, was good. He was not a top tier quarterback, though. He was never that, oh, Colin Kaepernick, top 5 quarterback. Instantly from day one, you have a guy that could be in the conversation as a top 5 quarterback. Harbaugh was able to really build a team in San Francisco. I think that would not be a terrible hire. But quickly finish up the other one so we can get into the picks.
like your other picks on there, I kind of just wanted to talk about Harbaugh going to the Jets. I kind of like started off a joke to me, but I kind of, more and more I think about it, I kind of like it.
I don't think it'd be terrible.
Especially,
Do you disagree with any of the other ones? Like, what do you think about the other ones?
I do. It's just that I really like the Robert Salo pick to the
For
Lions.
the Lions?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
he's
what do
just
you
been
think
rumored
about?
to go there, though.
I think of I don't think Joe Brady's coming out just yet. I know he's probably going to get a little buzz, and he definitely deserves so, and he will have a head coaching job one day. But what about Arthur Smith, the Titans OC? Like could he be a guy that does comes into the Bears and does like a complete 180, like where the Titans are this like run heavy team and they're very efficient offense. That could be something different for the Bears where we see them run the ball too much and they are very non-efficient. Every single play in their playbook is trash. I mean, one thing about that though, if he does like to run heavy, they have about 10 tight ends they can set up
Hmm.
and just run the ball down the throat. So that's plus.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't. I would like that a little bit. I think you're right. Maybe they go for a guy. They try to go for that. Let's make it easy on the quarterback. We have a guy that we like in David Montgomery. Um, you're probably not hanging on to Allen Robinson. You have some. I mean, Cole Kmet has looked pretty good, and you get a year of development under his belt. Maybe you're right. Maybe in the Windy City they decide to go for a more of a run first offensive coach instead of trying to go that traditional route of let's take a quarterback and air the ball out. I mean, it's
I
never
mean, like
truly worked in Chicago.
if you're trying to hold on to Chuck Pagano and all of them and hold on to some of these pieces on the defense, then maybe you go back to like kind of what the Browns are doing, but like a little old school football where you run and pound, hold that time of possession so your defense is never gashed and your defense just goes out there and shuts them down and you win ball games, like 20-7. You're not going to be like the most prolific thing because at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the quarterback, and they're going to be stuck with Foles and Trubisky, I'm guessing, unless they draft somebody. But
They'll
you
probably
know,
draft some. I'd imagine they will.
yeah, like I feel like a Mac Jones or something like that. The kid from BYU might be geared for them, but I don't think they have a first round pick either. So probably going to have to cash someone in the second round.